Hello, welcome to my kitchen. Today I'm making pineapple crunch. This is an easy and delicious side dish. It comes together in minutes and it's been on our family table for years and years and years. This is my grandmother's recipe and I love that I have this because it's in her handwriting. As a matter of fact, when she passed, the family gave me all of her recipes, and these are an absolute treasure to me. I couldn't have received anything that I love more. Well, I remember when my grandmama first started serving this, and it was probably in the late 70s, maybe early 80s, and this is delicious with ham. And usually when our family got together, my grandmother would always make a ham and she would serve this on the side. It's a perfect combination. Now I'm starting with a can of pineapple tidbits. Tidbits work best in this recipe. The pineapple adds a sweetness, and then we're also going to add a savory element to this. So we call it a brackish flavor in our family, a little salty, a little sweet. And I've drained my can of pineapple. And as I said, this is pineapple tidbits. I think it works best in this recipe because they're the perfect size. I like a bite of pineapple, but I don't want a chunk of pineapple. I'm making this in an 8x8 pan. You can easily double this recipe if you're serving it for a crowd, but this is the perfect size for our little family. Now I have a cup of granulated sugar, and I also have a 1/4 cup of all-purpose flour. And I'm gonna stir together my sugar and my flour. Just make sure that it's all blended together and that there are no lumps. Now, the sugar is going right over the top of this pineapple. And I just want to make sure that I get it all pretty even. I'm going to spread it out. And the flour just helps the sugar and pineapple juice, because these pineapples will continue to give off some liquid. It's going to bind it all together. And now we're going to start adding the savory elements to this pineapple crunch. This is 1.5 cups of cheddar cheese. Now I'm using sharp cheddar simply because I like it better. And this is the pre-shredded cheese. I'll say that my grandmother always grated her own cheese. I'm using the shredded kind that's already done for me, and I think she would appreciate that. A little time saver never hurts. Now the crunch that's in this recipe is coming from some Ritz crackers. The recipe calls for 1 tube, and I buy the Ritz crackers in the short stacks, so these two equal 1 tube. And I am going to hopefully crush these without making a mess. I'm going to push them together. Ooh, sounds like firecrackers. And then push on this side. And voila. I have crushed Ritz crackers. I'm going to do the same thing with this one. Now, I'm just going to spread these out. Doesn't matter if you have some chunks. That is perfectly fine. You don't have to get it like dust. You can leave a little bit of texture in there. Now, the last ingredient that I have is a stick of salted butter. This is going to create just kind of a gooey butterness that, is that a word, butterness? Well, I think it should be if it's not, and it's absolutely delicious. Now I'm going to put this in the microwave just until it melts, and here's a little trick my mom taught me. I have a coffee filter, and I'm just going to place this over the top, and that way I don't make a mess in my microwave. My butter is nice and melted, and you know what? A lot of times I just save these. I leave them over by the microwave, and I'll use them a few times. So, great little tip. My butter is melted. I think my grandmama's recipe says 1 stick of oleo. But grandmama, I'm using butter, and I'm just gonna drizzle this right over the top. This brings back wonderful memories. This is such a great recipe. Now I have my oven preheated to 350 degrees, and this size dish is going to take about 30 minutes. If you double your recipe or even triple it, obviously you're going to have to adjust your cooking time, but you just want to make sure that it's bubbly in the center. If it starts getting a little brown because of that butter on top, just lightly lay a piece of tin foil over it and let it continue to cook until it bubbles in the center. Next time I see you, we'll be tasting this delicious casserole. This casserole smells amazing. That cheese and pineapple and butter and y'all, you have got to try this. It's so good. Now, I let mine cook for a little over 30 minutes. I checked it at 30 and it still needed a little more cooking in the center. So I got my edges a little brown, but honestly, I love the brown edges because you've got to remember there's cheese in there, and it's the edges that I'm going for my taste test. Look at this. Now I let this rest for a good 10 minutes because if you don't, then it's not going to set up right. You definitely want it to rest. I think my grandmama would be very proud. You have to give me a moment on this one. This, for me, hits on all points. The pineapple is sweet, but the cheese gives it a savoriness, and then the crunch of the Ritz cracker, and then the sugar and the butter. It just makes for the perfect side dish. Oh, you could almost serve this as a dessert. It's that good. But I will be serving this with my ham. You're a blessing to me. Thanks so much for watching today and spending your time with me. I hope you'll try this dish. And will you like this video and share it with your friends? And if you haven't already, subscribe to Kathy's Southern Kitchen on Facebook and YouTube. Well, I'm a little early in making my pineapple casserole. Now I've got to go work on that ham. I'll see you next time.